What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode 18. Today I am remixing one of the all-time greats, Jim Rohn, 7 Diseases of the Mind. It's a really cool video, guys. It's a lot cooler than the one you're about to watch. This one's pretty cool too, so don't hate. There are basically like 7 afflictions or diseases of the mind that at some point in time we've had. We've probably had all of them, or we can think of a couple people in our life that have them. So starting right off with the first one is indifference. If you're not familiar with the term, indifference is used to describe somebody who doesn't really care which way the wind blows. That's the person who goes, whatever. It is what it is. The reason why indifference is dangerous is because when you put that energy out there that it doesn't really matter how things fall, you're not committing to something. It's usually done as a defense mechanism. If you care and if you commit to something and it doesn't work out, it means that you failed. And that failure hurts. So a lot of the people that go, whatever, man, it is what it is, or I don't care, I'm not involved in that, those people are usually afraid of failure. They're afraid of commitment. And here's what that actually turns out to be. It is going to put you in a place where you didn't do anything. You didn't stand up for anything in your life. You get to the end of the road and you go, wow, man, I wish I would have tried harder here or tried harder there. The fact of the matter is that if you're on this earth right now, it's totally okay for you to put your foot down and say, this is something I believe in. And if it goes poorly, dealing with the failure is a valuable lesson in life. It's going to make you better. Because people are indifferent oftentimes, it means that they don't really have any urgency or emotional investment. They're kind of schlepping their feet through life. They're going slow and they're not getting anything meaningful done. That's not a great way to be. In my personal opinion, a small effort consistently performed beats zero emotional buy-in. I can usually see this when I'm having a meeting with my team. I look around at the facial expressions of people, and the person who looks disengaged, like they're not paying attention or they're not into what I'm saying, they're not buying in. Now, that could be because I'm not a good enough speaker. That could be because they don't agree with the idea, or it literally could be somebody sitting on the fence and going through life with indifference. Pick a lane, drive hard in it, and if you find out that lane isn't for you, switch lanes. The next disease of the mind is indecision. It's kind of closely related to indifference, but it ends up making a person overly analytical. The whole point of life is to get things done, not to spend all the time thinking about the things that need to be done. And a person that struggles with indecision can also be a complainer. Complaining is interesting. People say that words and actions are not the same thing, but in a small way, when you speak out loud, it is an action. You're moving your face, you're moving the muscles in your face, your mouth, you're making noise. Just the act of complaining is enough to trick your body into thinking, or your mind into thinking, that you're doing something about it when you're not. Indecision, ironically, is a decision, but you're just making the worst one. The whole point of this, and we've talked about stressful coping mechanisms and finding a way to see the light at the end of the tunnel when you're going through something. Sit down, sit with your thoughts, come up with a solution, and act. The only regret you're going to have is that you didn't make the decision sooner, so that you could have found out it was the wrong one and fixed it sooner. So don't get stuck in the analytical trap of spending too much time before making a decision. It sucks, and it's a time waste you will never get back. Waiting sometimes feels safe because it's you hoping that the problem will resolve itself, but it's not going to resolve itself. Indecision is often fear dressed up as thinking. You're not solving any problems by spending too much time on it. Present your options, write it down, and get it done. The next disease of the mind is doubt. This one is for everybody. And there's something called imposter syndrome, which is when you feel like you haven't earned a level of success that you've obtained in your life. Doubt is important because it's going to allow you to second guess yourself. And sometimes doing that is going to help you catch the other perspective. But too much doubt means that you're not going to be able to hold your head high and put your chest out and have confidence. To the people with imposter syndrome, my question is, are you working hard enough to feel that you've earned something? Sometimes you haven't. And sometimes luck and a little bit of effort have an intersection where you end up with a result. And if the results that you have right now are purely based on luck, then put the effort in to make sure that you've earned it. And the imposter syndrome will go away. But doubting is not attacking your ability. It is attacking your identity. And if your identity is frayed and scarred and you don't have the confidence, then your abilities are going to fall behind too, all because you were stuck in this loop of doubt in your own mind. When I was in my 20s, I was working in an industry that was new to me, and I felt like the owners of the company were supposed to be my mentors. And in many ways they were, but I also realized that they didn't have all the time to give me to be my mentors full time. So what I did in order to feel less doubtful about myself was I started reading, and I started mostly listening to audiobooks because my attention span's pretty limited. I also had a long drive to and from work every single day. So on my way to work, if I have an hour drive, that's 1 hour of an audiobook. Those authors and narrators became my mentors. That doesn't mean that I don't have mentors or people that I rely on to be able to vent my opinions or frustrations. I have those people. I'm lucky to have those people. But if you don't have those people, finding content like this can be helpful. But there's a lot of really great people in the self-development space that can give you mentorship, and they can do a way better job than I'm currently capable of doing. So I encourage you guys to check out authors like Dale Carnegie, Jocko Willink, Simon Sinek. Dale Carnegie created the first book ever for self-development. It was How to Win Friends and Influence People. It sounds manipulative, but it's a really incredible book. It is a little bit dated, but beyond that, there's some pretty much timeless lessons in that book. Jocko Willink, who I mentioned, was a Navy SEAL. He talks about the importance of ownership and creating structural rules within your organization. So it's not just for life, it's also for business. David Goggins will teach you how to overcome adversity. Simon Sinek will teach you how to be a compassionate leader. All of these people became my mentors, and after enough effort, I stopped doubting myself. Put the effort in, get rid of the imposter syndrome, and stop beating up your own self-worth and calling it a lack of ability. All right, so the next one is gonna hit super close to home. Worry. My mom was a worrywart when I was a little kid. It's because she loved me. Worry is natural and it's important. But I mean, it was like, don't climb that tree, it's too tall. Don't go swimming in the creek without any supervision. She was right. She wasn't wrong. Worry is important because it's gonna make sure that you're doing the right thing or that you're safe. But it's closely related to doubt. All of these are kind of going in order because they touch on one another. They're similar, but they're not the same. They are different. Remember this, guys. Most of what you fear will never happen. You put your best foot forward and try, you might not even fail. Let's just say you do fail on the first try. If you keep trying and you succeed, did you ever fail at all? Probably not. Action is the antidote to anxiety. Getting up and doing the chores, getting up and going to the gym. That is going to get you out of your own headspace. Once you're in motion, you stay in motion. And it's going to be a lot easier to keep the momentum up. Don't be a worrywart. Let these little anxieties be a part of your life. I'm not saying to go and jump off of a bridge or not think first. But beyond that, you got to ask yourself, is it productive or am I wasting energy? The next disease is overcaution. Overcaution is essentially the timid approach to life. You need to be looking for opportunities to ask for adventure from life. Step out of your comfort zone. I'm not talking about doing dangerous stuff. We already talked about that in the worry section. I am saying if a friend asks you to go out to a nightclub and you're not really the type of person to go out to that nightclub. If a friend asks you to go skateboarding at the skate park, get off your butt and go try skateboarding. If a friend has been begging you to go rock climbing or try a new activity, just do it. Step outside your comfort zone. Don't be overly cautious that something that will require effort might result in failure. Failure is where the growth is. And if you're not failing at anything, you're not growing. I fail all the time, literally in business, in life, at the gym. I don't get my PR. I have to let people go. There's always an element of me having to own the unfortunate situation that I'm in. I got to take ownership over that. At the same time, if I didn't take any of those risks, I wouldn't have any of the amazing things that I have in my life right now. Don't be overcautious. The next one is my favorite one to talk about. It is pessimism. Do you want to sound smart? Do you want to sound like you got the right ideas? Then you got to be pessimistic. Pessimism is on the cover of every single YouTube short or video right now. It's negative news. The people telling you that the market is going to crash sound a hell of a lot smarter than the guy that says, I don't know, I think the stock market's going to go up. Pessimism is a lot more common than we realize, and we carry it with us all the time as we sit there and bet on the worst possible outcome to happen. So I'm going to challenge you guys to be optimistic instead. Pessimism might feel like you're protecting yourself because you're setting your emotional expectations off for the worst possible scenario, but it's not. It's just limiting you, and it's like looking at this job posting that's out there, and the job posting is above your pay grade. It's above what you do right now. And you go, well, I'm not qualified for that. It'll never work out. And my God, what happens if they hire me? And I try my best and then they fire me because I'm not good for the role. Let's switch that around. Wow, there's a job out there. It looks great. I've never done that type of work before, but I know that if I put my best foot forward, I would figure it out. That's the attitude you want to have. What happens if you get the job you're underqualified for? I promise you, it's going to scare the crap out of you. I promise you, you're going to work harder in ways that you didn't realize you could. And even if you get canned because they say, hey, you know what, dude? You weren't meant for this job. It's time to move on. You tried so hard. Your efforts were so pure that whatever skills you acquired during that process is going to make your next opportunity even better. There's a phrase I've mentioned before. Watch your thoughts, for your thoughts become your words. Watch your words, for your words become your actions. Watch your actions, for those become your habits. And watch your habits because they become your destiny. Think about all the cool movies you've watched in life and the destiny of Luke Skywalker to defeat the forces of evil, the destiny of whatever the main protagonist is to overcome the adversity. We all want that for ourselves. And as a matter of fact, we see that in ourselves, no matter how pessimistic we might be, because we identify with those main characters all the time. It's called main character energy. Everybody's walking around right now is in their own head and thinks they're number one player in a global world filled with billions of people. And we are to a certain degree. The question is, if you go through life as a pessimist, you might sound smart, but what are you going to get at the end of the day? And the last one that we're going to talk about is complaining. You can vent or you can advance. Pick one. You can sit here and trick your brain into thinking you're making something happen by complaining to every friend around you about the circumstances you'd like to change, or you can actually change them. I talk to you guys all the time about positive habits that you can set in your life. I struggle with it. Up until a little over a month ago, I doom scrolled every single opportunity I had. I was looking at my phone while I was driving. I was looking at my phone when I'm in the bathroom. Couldn't take a crap without doom scrolling on YouTube or Instagram. I'd like to always remain humble enough or honest enough with you guys to showcase when I struggle with something myself and what I'm doing about it. For the last month, I haven't doom scrolled or looked at any short form content except for what we're putting out on this channel or the other YouTube channel that we run, and that's only for self-evaluation. I was complaining about it. I was telling people, yeah, man, I'm using my phone too much. I have a phone addiction. And people would look at me and they would say, oh, yeah, get in line, dude. But I think that most of us don't really realize the effect that this has on us. And it wasn't until I got up and I was pissed off enough about the circumstances of my life that I made the change. I'm not going to tell you that there was some great plan that I had or insightful journal entry that I put in that made me make this change. I literally just woke up and said, I'm not going to do it. And at first, I thought I was going to pick a certain time of day where it was appropriate to doom scroll. What I found out was that there was really no appropriate time for me to spend time wasted on my phone. Because when am I going to do it? While I'm driving? When I'm at the office? No, that's not integrity. When I'm with my girlfriend? No. When I'm at my other business? No. When I'm taking a crap? Why can't I give myself 15 minutes, maybe 30, taking a crap that I have my thoughts, where I can plan my day, I can come up with ideas, or just a little bit of silence. These are gifts. Most of us would rather complain than act. Every complaint that you make reinforces victimhood. All of us have challenges. Most of you guys watching this video right now have had worse challenges than I have had. But somebody out there has had it worse and turned it into an opportunity. So when you meet that person and you see somebody who was abused, who came from poverty, who saw violence at a young age, who was traumatized at a young age, much more so than yourself, and they are running marathons, writing books, and inspiring people, you have to ask yourself, why did I let this happen to me? Maybe that person had a magical coping mechanism, but maybe that person forged their own coping mechanisms. I would like each and every one of you guys to think about that every time you're about to complain about a childhood trauma or a past grievance from another person. When you do this, it doesn't just reinforce your victimhood, but it literally prevents you from loving yourself. And if you truly love yourself, then you would recognize that even your enemies have made you who you are, and you owe them an inch of gratitude. I look at my traumas right now because I genuinely mostly love myself today. And I think about bad things that have happened to me or people who've hurt me or harmed me. And I realize that there were lessons in all of those moments that helped me be a better man. That will only continue through life. Just because I like myself, love myself, whatever I feel like calling it today, doesn't mean that bad things won't happen to me in the future. They will. But I'm going to choose to not complain about it. And as a matter of fact, I show gratitude towards those traumas because they made me who I am. Doesn't mean that I don't have bad things or I am toxically positive and just brush everything off as no big deal. That's indifference. But what I'm saying is that I can recognize the negative, I can find the silver lining in the positive, and I can move on with my life, absorb it, and like myself even more. The last thing I'll say is that complaints actually externalize the responsibility. Say I'm talking to you and you're 42 years old. You're working a dead-end job. You're not happy with where you're at. You have a busted car. You have no money saved. And I really start to get to know you. You explaining to me your past issues and your abusive stepdad and your poverty growing up is basically just telling me like, hey, I'm not happy where I'm at right now and this is why. I think you're better than that. I know you're better than that. I know you're capable of taking a crap situation and turning it into something great. That's what this whole channel is about. I want to reframe and help you guys reevaluate the choices that you're making on a day-to-day basis so you can make better ones. Because you got to remember, everything is figureoutable. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you guys got any questions, comments, concerns, drop them below. Otherwise, show me some love with that subscribe button.